everyone, so today's video is the look that I was wearing in my review of the Lorac Mega Pro 2 palette. It looks like this. If you haven't seen the video, I will link it down below and put an annotation somewhere around my head for it. It's a wonderful palette. I absolutely adore it. I've been using this in conjunction with other things, other new products, and I have really enjoyed using this palette. It is so incredibly great, and it's just really nice. It's got a nice range of colors. So we're doing something a little bit dark, a little bit smoky today. Definitely something that you can customize. But I love this look, and this is the second time that I'm wearing this look. Just such a great palette. So I do recommend it. I did a post recently of all of my Lorac Mega Pro palettes, Pro 1, Mega Pro 1 and Mega Pro 2. I also shared pictures and swatches of the original Pro 1 and Pro 2. So my entire Pro collection of Lorac is on the blog. I will link it down below if you want to see it. I found some of the pictures that I used when I did the original post. Found them on my external hard drive, so I did share those. I didn't redo the swatches, so they kind of look a little different. I've changed my swatching style, or my swatching game a little bit. So that will be there if you want to see all of the shades in here, with all of the shades in the Mega Pro 1, which is not available anymore. That was from last year holiday, and from the Pro 1 and Pro 2 if you are curious, or if you don't own them, or you wanted to see them, whatever. It will be on the blog for you, so just check out the link down below. Everything that I used for today's video will be listed as well, with the link to the Ulta site to get this, because it was in stock yesterday before I filmed this video. I wanted to check, which I was still completely shocked that it's still in stock, because I thought that would have sold out by now. But if you want to get your hands on it, there's still a chance for you to be able to get that from the Ulta website or Ulta in store. So check your local stores if you want to get it. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to tell you right now. So I will get into the tutorial so you can see how to do this look. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take the Morphe E30 brush that looks like this, and I'm going to apply porcelain and custard mixed together, and that's going to go all over my lid, all the way from my lash line all the way up to my brow bone. And what this is going to do is help with blending. It's going to cut down your blending time, because I feel like the shadows just go on better. They blend easier than just going directly onto the skin. Now, I do have a little bit of primer. I use a Too Faced Shadow Insurance. I got a sample size from my Stardust palette, so that's what I used to prevent creasing. So I have applied a pretty decent layer of this all over the lid. Like I said, I want to kind of create an even layer. All I had was a little bit of Airbrush foundation, which is all I have, no concealer. Okay, so then I'm going to apply some crease colors. Now, in that video, it looked a little bit darker than what I had, or maybe not. Maybe I feel like I got it just right this time around, because I didn't record that video, obviously. So what I'm going to do is take an E25 brush from Sigma. It's one of my favorite Sigma brushes. These are two E25s. This one right here is fluffier because it's the one that I always use. This one I found in my stash, and so this is the one that I'm going to use starting off with. But I'm going to keep this one on hand just to help clean up and do some blending. So what I'm going to start off with is the color Tawny, which looks like this. It's a tan shade. And I'm going to take just a little bit of that on the tip of the brush, tapping off the excess, and I'm going to look down into my mirror and see where my natural crease is. That's where you want this color, because we're going to apply something in the upper crease here in a minute. So just kind of work that back and forth. You can add as much or as little as you want. Like all of my looks, I always say this, you can customize it to your preference. If you want it darker, go for it. If you want it lighter, knock yourself out. If you are darker than me, you can start by applying Burlap, which is right next to Tawny if you have this shade, or this palette. If you are really dark and rich skin tones, you might want to use a little bit of Saddle mixed with Burlap, just to kind of lighten that dark saddle shade a bit to match your skin tone. So just make it work. Mix some shades together if you need to. Then going back in with that fluffy brush that's clean, the same style of brush, and I'm going to clean this up and just sort of like work this into the crease. Then I'm going to move on into a fluffier crease brush. This is the Sigma E40. I just grabbed it because it's what I look at. Every time I look over there, it's like this big massive brush just staring at me. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to pick up the color Melon and Tangerine, which is melon is more peach and then tangerine is more orange. And that's going to go in the upper crease part, and I'm just going to do a little bit of it, just a tiny amount, and just kind of warm up this upper crease area. And we're going to blend this out. These colors are so pigmented, but they also blend out really, really nicely. And I'm not using too much of this Melon and Tangerine because I do have a look that's very centered on those two shades. Those are the focal points of another look that's coming, I think maybe Monday. You will see that. Take any sort of clean brush and kind of go around that and soften that. I'm just using the E30 that I used to put my base shadow on, and I'm going to soften all of this. So I'm just continuing going back and forth, just kind of blending that out, and as you can see, it's not as harsh as it was when we first started. That's the whole point of this look. You want it to be really soft and very just kind of blown out, as you see here. Okay, so then I'm going to move on to the lid and the outer V. I'm going to be using the Sonia Kashuk number 6 brush. It looks like this. It's the one with the white handles, but a very small tapered shadow brush is going to be key to doing this next step and the following step because these colors are very intense. So I'm going to take the shade Olivine, which is a gorgeous sort of metallic, it's like a silver gunmetal color with a subtle olive undertone. It's gorgeous because it's not too green, it's not too silver, it's not too dark. It's just really, really beautiful. I really love this color. So I'm going to take that on the Sonia Kashuk brush and I'm going to tap off the excess on my tissue. And I'm going to apply this to the inner half of my lid. And I'm just kind of patting this color before I kind of swipe. Most people kind of swipe the shadows on. You want to tap off your excess and then kind of pat first. And then once I have that down, I'm going to kind of swipe my brush just to kind of smooth everything out. That color is so extremely pigmented, it's not even a joke. Okay, so then for the next step, I'm going to take that same brush, wipe it off really well, and I'm going to pick up the color Black Ivy. This one is a very dark black with a subtle kind of deep olive tone to it, so it's perfect. These two colors play off really well with each other, and it's got a little bit of sparkle to it, but that's what's going to be on this outer part of the eye. So taking a little bit of that, and again tapping off the excess because this is very intense, I'm going to start by pressing or stamping that color right onto the lid. And I'm also going to tilt my head back a little bit so that I can see where my natural crease is, so that I don't bring this into the crease. I want the color to meet up to my crease area, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to pat these two. And I'm going to stop about right where the color part of my eye ends. So right in this part here. And we'll blend it in just a little further in a minute. And then with that same brush, what I'm going to do with the very tip of it, I'm going to tap off the excess on my napkin as well. And I'm going to swing down and kind of add a little bit of darkness. And again, just following the natural shape of my eye, not doing anything crazy. And I'm going to apply this and go right about halfway. So right, kind of almost half. This brush is a little thick for this step, but because I used it on the other eye, I'm going to just finish and do both eyes to match. But normally I would use a pencil brush like the MAC 219 for this. Okay, so now you see how we have that harsh line. I'm going to take the same brush, but I'm going to flip it over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pat where that Black Ivy meets up with the Olivine. So just kind of pat, pat, pat. And there's no need to bring in another brush. As you can see, it's going to start creating that gradient from olivine slowly into the dark color. So no need for extra brushes or extra, shadows or anything. Just sort of wipe off your brush and make sure you use the opposite side that you use to apply the color and just kind of pat it. Then to kind of soften out these edges, because this looks a little bit of a hot mess right now, I'm going to take a really wispy crease brush that looks like this. This is by Sigma. This is the E36. And I'm going to, again, tilt my head back and kind of come right where that black ivy meets to my crease and just kind of work this back and forth in windshield wiper motions until I get this blended. Again, keeping it right where I have it, not bringing it up too high or not bringing it too much into the crease. So just kind of blend it so that it's smooth and even where it meets up into those transition shades that you've applied. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. I'm going to take that same brush that I used to apply the black ivy, which is that Sonia Kashuk, with just a teensy tiny bit more. And I'm going to stamp this right on the outer V of the eye to create a lot more depth and richness right in the outer part of the eye. And again, just stamping it. So once you have it a little bit darker, you can do this step if you want. You don't have to. But I do like doing that because it creates a bit of some depth around this outer part. And then with my brush, without anything on, I've wiped it off pretty well. I'm going to go in and sort of like perfect those edges with the brush. And then go back in with that wispy crease brush and sort of like blend out just a little bit of it. Now I'm going to go back in with the same brush, the Sonia Kashuk. I'm going to wipe the heck out of it because we don't want any darkness on this inner part. I'm going to go back into olivine, which is what I have in the inner part. I'm going to touch up that color and just make it a little bit more intense. I'm also going to take some of that on the very tip of the brush and I'm going to apply that to my inner corner. And in that video, I didn't mention what I did on the lower lash line. I didn't even tell you that I wore that color or anything like that in that video. And I should have, because it's gorgeous. Okay, so I have a really small detail brush. It's a plain. A little small detail brush. This is from the Coastal Scents set that I reviewed, I think 2 years ago. I don't know. It's been a long time. I'm taking the shade Penny, which is a beautiful, like, antique bronze shade. It's so, so gorgeous. I love this color. I live for shades like this. I'm going to apply this just in the center of my lower lash line. So if I'm looking straight at you, right under where the color part of my eye is, that little piece right there, that's where I'm going to put this color. It's not going to do much, but when you get really up close, all up in my business, you will be able to see a little bit of bronze just kind of poking through. So I think it's really, really cool. So I'm just going to look straight ahead and go under that color part of my eye. And then I'm going to flip my brush over and kind of tap where it meets up to olivine and then tap where it meets into that dark shade so that it kind of has that blend. So it gives you a little something, but it's not like, oh, she's wearing something crazy. With that same brush, I'm going to go in back into Black Ivy. Again, just ever so slightly. I'm not going to do too much. I'm going to kind of darken up this outer part to kind of match this other eye here. And I'm going to tilt my head to the side so you guys can see what I'm doing. And kind of come in here and just sort of thicken that a bit. So now what we have to do is add a little bit of some more richness to the crease with some of our transition shades that we used just a moment ago. I'm going to take, again, my Sigma E40 with the Melon shade. Just a tiny little bit of that peach color, and I'm going to kind of go around all of this, sort of like creating a halo effect. Then I'm going to switch into my E25, the one that's a little bit more precise out of the two that I have. So as you can see, it's very rounded and tapered. Picking up Burlap and Melon. So I'm going to show you what those two look like. So Burlap mixed with Melon, so a tan and the peach mixed together. And try not to get too close to that black color because it is very pigmented and it's going to be easy to pull that color up too high. And then just kind of wipe off your brush and kind of go in here and clean it up. I like going in with the same brush that I used earlier, the E30, to kind of soften out those edges. So as you can see, it deepens everything up. Alright, so now all I have to do is some concealer. I'm going to use my Maybelline Fit Me concealer to kind of clean up under the eye area here. Just add a couple little drops. Don't really need much. I'm using my Micro Beauty Blender to blend this out. Okay, and then I've also set my under eye with the e.l.f. HD setting powder. It's the one that I use every day, just with a small tapered brush by e.l.f. as well, to kind of get rid of that sort of wet look from my concealer. Now for the lower lash line, or waterline, I didn't put anything on. Throughout the day, my tight line that I did will transfer just a little bit, so that's why I'm not going to do any tight lining. But what I am going to do is a little bit of liquid liner. I'm using the CoverGirl Intensify Me. That's what I used in that video. That liner that I did in that video was a little bit thicker because I kind of messed up. I was rushing because I was too excited. So I'm going to do just a kind of thin line, following the natural shape of my eye, no wing, no nothing. Alright, for mascara, I'm going to use my usual, the CoverGirl Super Sizer for my lower lash line, and then my go-to Maybelline The Rocket Volume. I love this mascara. It is my favorite holy grail from the drugstore. I adore it. As you can see, it gives me a full sort of fanned out effect. I don't even need false eyelashes. If you wanted to, you could. Do whatever you want. I'm going to tightline really quickly with my L'Oreal Smoldering eyeliner. And as I said, throughout the day, that will kind of transfer a little bit, so I'm not going to actually run it on my lower waterline. So I'm going to put mascara on. Alright, so now that the eyes are done, we just need to do some finishing touches. For my foundation today, I am using an airbrush foundation. It's the Dinair airbrush system, which I will be doing a video on soon. I don't know exactly when because I'm still sort of working with the product and kind of learning a little bit on it, so I will keep you guys posted on that. But for the rest of the face, I want to use a few products from the Balms in the Balm of Your Hand palette that I got recently from Kohl's. This is part of their, I guess, holiday, but I love the packaging. It's so adorable. I like how the lip products, which you get 2 of them, have their own separate flaps, so no fallout and yuckiness from this other side. Won't get into that. So this is what the palette has. A couple blushes, a bronzer, a couple eyeshadows, and Mary-Lou Manizer, which I love. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use Mary-Lou Manizer from this palette, and I'm applying that with the e.l.f. blush brush, which is what I use for my highlighters. And I love Mary-Lou. It's such a good highlight shade. It's just perfect. In the video that I had this look on for the Lorac review, I believe I was wearing one from Makeup Revolution in that video. Or maybe even Mary-Lou. I don't know. It's one that looked very similar to this. For blush, in that video, I believe I had on the Makeup Revolution blush in Nude. If it wasn't that, it was maybe Bliss by Makeup Geek. I'm not really sure. So, I think I'm just going to go in with this Nude, because I kind of wanted to keep everything pretty neutral. So I'm going to use the Morphe F4 brush to apply this, and you have seen me use these blushes in almost every tutorial. I love matte blushes, the only kind of blush that I really like to use, and these are very, very pigmented. For the price, $5, yes, $5 for this whole thing is just an incredible deal. Okay, for my lips, in that video I was wearing the lipstick by Makeup Revolution. I almost forgot. I forget the line that these are called. I will try to list it down below if I remember. But it's in the shade Totally Not Boring, and it's a beautiful berry shade. Looks like that. I will do a little swatch. It has a subtle kind of sheen to it, so it's not completely matte. It's not super glossy, but that sheen just kind of gives it a little bit of a glow onto the lips. It's not super frosty. I don't like frosted lips or lipsticks, so I'm going to apply this. See, it's such a pretty color. You could use any lip you wanted for this look. You don't have to do the berry like I did, but I'm kind of keeping it very close to what I was wearing in that video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial and this look. I really enjoyed filming this, and I wish that I would have filmed it before because it would have been up already, but I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I do have Another look using this palette coming up on Monday. It's using the orangey tones and a little bit of glitter, so kind of fun and different, but still very easy to do, just like this look today. So don't freak out with the word glitter because it's really easy. So that's coming up on Monday. Please let me know in the comment section what you think about this look. If you have any requests for looks with this palette, let me know. Also, any requests for anything holiday, I'm going to be doing a video with this palette, the In the Balm of Your Hand by TheBalm Cosmetics. If you have any suggestions for holiday palettes that you want to see, let me know so that I can go ahead and place orders for those and get my hands on those as soon as I can so that I can start knocking out your requested videos. So thank you guys so much for being here with me today. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thumbs up, like, and comment down below, and I will see you guys in my next video, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.